Dawson Rider review.
Hey YouTube, Dawson Rider here. Welcome to my review for Power Rangers Beast Morphers Season 2, Episode 4, Artist Anonymous. Let's start off by talking about the elephant in the room. Ace is not here. Instead, it's his friend, Captain Sparkle Pants. But you know why that is? You see, the thing is, Ace is all the way in the other room, and I already sat down, and this guy was already at my desk, so I was like... So as for the episode, I thought it was okay. I thought it was a decent episode. I liked it more than last week's. It was another filler episode, and again, I can't tell whether it's actually happening or whether people suggested it and now I'm worried that we're in the second season, super season curse. But I definitely feel it a little bit, but I'll talk about that a bit more at the end. But this episode did feel a bit more in line with some more classic, quote-unquote classic, Beast Morpher filler from last season. Mainly because this episode did actually focus on one of our characters and one of their ongoing storylines, and it wasn't just focusing on an outdated moral lesson. I was really worried at the beginning of the episode it was going to be all about lying because Ravi's trying to cover up his whole artist shtick and Nate's like, even small and big lies are bad. I'm like, that's just not true. Like, you're not going to see someone and be like, damn, you ugly. Like, you're going to lie to them. I feel like, are we not at the point where we can do moral episodes about white lies can be good? But so, I was ready to go on that rant. I had that rant keyed up. I thought that's what the episode was going to be about, and it didn't end up being about it. But I was pleasantly surprised that it wasn't. I was confused by one thing, which I'll get to in a second, but we focused on Ravi's storyline about being an artist from last season, which I have very little sympathy for because he abused Smash during that whole storyline, hashtag justice for Beastbots. Also, Beastbots, where are they? Ravi paints this mural, basically, and then he hides it from everybody. He kind of keeps the lie going, and then for whatever reason, the villains decide to take advantage of that. And they're like, oh, we can take advantage of this by coming up with our own fake artist that's the monster disguising himself. And I did like the idea of the Evox using the mayor disguise to get this guy on the inside to enact their plan. And I've really been enjoying the actor as the Evox Mayor Daniels thing. I feel like the actor's having a lot of fun with it. It's been fun to watch. I like that aspect. I'm a little bit confused about how the mechanics work, because in the last couple weeks, I don't know if it was last week or the week before, it makes it seem like Mayor Daniels isn't conscious at all, but then it seems more like an Anton Mercer, not Anton Mercer, actually more like first Evil White Ranger situation where he's conscious and then all of a sudden he transforms, but like now he can also take the form of him. So I don't know, it's like a mixed bag of how the rules work, whether or not Mayor Daniels is at all in control at any point. Like obviously he's not in control enough to know he's Evox and been like, help, I'm Evox. The point is, I'm a little confused about how the rules are working and what they want with that, but I'm enjoying that aspect of the villain storyline this year. So, but with that painting stuff, I felt like it was really weird. I guess they did this in MMPR all the time, but that's not a good reason to do something. In fact, if MMPR did it, that might be a sign to stop. The idea that the villains would care about the Rangers' personal drama, and it would have made more sense, like, if they had the mural thing be more of a storyline where it was kind of dumb, because when he painted the mural, they're like, oh my god, this is an amazing mural, who did it? I'm like, it's not even that good of a mural. This is motel art. Ravi was painting these all around town, and it was like a big thing that everybody knew about, and then they used that. So instead of being like, oh, Ravi and his mom, like, why would the villains care about that? They could have just used the idea that, like, there's a painting craze. And also, when they had the impersonation artist, did they have to have the most stereotypical cartoon of one? Again, it's one of those things that makes it seem very outdated, and that was very annoying. But the whole thing is they needed Ravi to take credit for it and recognize that this was an imposter. And it's funny, though, because it's like, it could have just been, obviously, you know, it wasn't just a regular imposter, but I like how as soon as the jig is up about him being an imposter, he's like, well, you got me, I'm a monster. It's like, he could have just been a straight-up imposter, like, well, I knew he was an imposter, but I didn't expect him to be a robot. There's something I was a little bit confused about in the conversation he had with the Rangers right before he revealed his secret, is he said that he's been afraid to reveal it because his mom's always wanted him uniform his whole life, and he didn't want to disappoint her. And that, I might be reading too much into it, but that one conversation almost read like he doesn't want to be in Grid Battle Force, which I thought was interesting. It was confusing for a second. They brought it around more at the end about more so what we knew from season 1 of he just thought his mom thought it was a waste of time. But I thought that was an interesting thread, and who knows if it'll ever be picked up on again, but I think that would have almost been more interesting. Like, obviously, Ravi's a good guy, and right now he's gonna be like, you know what, you guys got this, I'm gonna go paint. But I think it would have been interesting, the idea that maybe he wanted to leave Grid Battle Force to become an artist, but then all this Ranger stuff went down, and then maybe like at the end of the series he would leave. Kind of like how Jack, I mean obviously Jack still wanted to help people in SPD, but he felt like he had a different purpose and left at the end. I think that would have been a more interesting angle to this, or at least something to add to this. I don't think it will be, but it's something I thought of, and I thought that scene was weird because it seemed more like he wanted to leave, but that could have just been me thinking about that, but that could have been interesting. But you know, he ends up revealing a secret, and they save the day and all that stuff. But I really did enjoy, I think this is what made the episode a little bit better for me, was I really did enjoy the scene with him and his mom at the end, where she's like, how could you not tell me? He's like, well, he thinks art's a waste of time. And I'm like, he could have heckled her for running when he ran into her. What are you doing running? That's not Grid Battle Force related. What a waste of time. So, but I liked the scene because it wasn't like, oh, you lied and lying is bad, lie. But it was more about their relationship, and it felt a little more real, honestly, because I liked that she actually took some responsibility for it. Like, obviously he's been keeping it a secret, but I liked that she said, you know, part of the problem was my attitude, and I don't like that the attitude and the environment I created made it feel like you couldn't say something. And I liked that. It was a nice moment, and it wasn't like a classic Power Rangers single-minded moral or resolution. It showed that there was fault on both sides. Like, maybe he shouldn't have been coming up with all these lies and lies of lies to keep this a secret, but maybe she shouldn't have seemed so strict. And I thought that was a nice evolution of a storyline, and even though this was a filler episode, it actually focused on one of our characters. It wasn't about some rando we're never going to see again. It wasn't solely about an outdated message. It was about one of our characters, and it was also continuing character's storyline that was started last season. It was also nice to get a Ravi focus, because I feel like he gets not as much focus as some of the other Rangers last season, so that was nice. Some small little notes. Speaking of the commander, there was a badass scene later where like the villain stops the Rangers from communicating to their transports, and she brings them some weapons, and she like fires them, and she's like holding one here and one here. That was a badass scene. I really liked that. Even though the fight scenes weren't the greatest, I thought it was kind of funny and neat to see them using random everyday objects to fight when they couldn't access their weapons. I thought that was a cool beat. Some negative beats. Again, Ben and Betty. They're not absolutely my most important part of the show or favorite part of the show, but I really am disappointed with how they've been handled so far. They feel a lot more almost in line with Victor and Monty, where they just exist almost separately just for a bit. And they've never been perfect, but I've mentioned this in my previous reviews, but before they felt much more integrated with the show, felt like they were bringing some actual value to the plot even, and they felt more like regular characters, and I feel like this season they've been super seasoned for sure. Same thing with Blaze and Roxy. I'm still enjoying Evil Roxy's performance as Evil Roxy, and she had some good lines here, and we're only 4 episodes in, but I'm definitely disappointed with the fact that good Blaze and Roxy have been sidelined. I think there's some interesting potential there that I hope gets taken advantage of, but I think that right now it makes me wonder why even make them good? Why not just leave them evil for 2 seasons and then save them? Right now it feels underutilized and not done very well, and I'm very disappointed by that. I think especially in this episode, because this was a Ravi episode, and I would expect Roxy to have been there in a personal story, and I think that could have added something to it. And I guess I kind of get that the actors would have to pull double duty, and that would be a lot of work playing 2 characters, because I know that's kind of a thing in TV. But like in this one, you wouldn't have needed Blaze, and like Roxy and Blaze were only in a couple scenes. Like in episodes in which Robo, Blaze, and Roxy have major story beats, I would get it, but this episode, they very easily could have had Roxy in there for some personal scenes. But we'll have to wait and see. I don't want to, you know, sound the super season alarm just yet, but I definitely feel that there's a little bit less focus this season, and I'm not sure why that is, but let's feel it out. We'll see what happens. But this episode I thought was a solid filler. I would give it a 7. At least, again, it focused on one of our characters and not just a random moral. Let's hope we continue to improve. But what did you guys think? Did you enjoy this episode? Are you worried about it turning into a super season curse of filler over story? Let me know in the comments as always. Until next time, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and climb the steps and ring that bell to get notifications from my videos. Dawson Ryder, signing out.